Good morning, ladies. Hope y'all are doing well today. Anyway, I wanted to pop on this morning a few minutes. I've been talking in my email series this month, and I talked a little bit last week about we're going to be talking about habits. And today I wanted to talk about something that is how we can help get a habit to become a habit in the first place, and that is cheat until something actually does become a habit. Now, the thing is, beginning of the year, we're always thinking, hopefully not resolutions, but goals, changes that we can make, new habits we'd like to implement, some bad habits we'd like to get rid of, and all of those are good things. But here's the thing with habits, though. Habits are hard because change is so hard. Most of us resist change. It's easier to stay where we are because we feel comfortable, it's warm, it feels right. Even when it's not a place necessarily that we want to stay, at least it's a place that we're familiar and it's comfortable and it's easy. That's the biggest thing with changing a habit, is it's so much easier to stay stuck where you are. And generally, to implement a new habit requires a lot of motivation because, again, it's kind of like overcoming that inertia. To make that change requires some kind of great motivation, either something we want to see different. Maybe we want to improve our health. Maybe we want to get our home organized so we won't be embarrassed to have company over. Maybe we want to get our finances in order so that we won't be worried about making the bills each month, or so that we'll have extra to take vacation. There's got to be some kind of a very strong motivation there to get us to want to change. In fact, one of my favorite sayings that I actually, for a long time, I kept it printed off on paper and over my little desk, was this saying right here. And it's, growth occurs when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. And that particular quote spoke to me because at that point in time, I was in a job that I was more than tired of. Y'all know I'm a former teacher and administrator. And while I loved the kids, I didn't always love the system, and I didn't always love the rules and the requirements. And I had gotten to the point I was just pretty sick of the whole thing. But breaking free and making a change is really difficult. And this particular quote spoke to me because I knew that in order to make a change, I was going to have to get to the point that I was more afraid of staying the same and staying in a place that felt stuck than I was of making the change and doing something new. Anyway, part of the thing that's so hard about making change is we're afraid of the unfamiliar. We're afraid of the unfamiliar. A lot of times we wonder, we have this idealized vision of what something might be like if we lose the weight or change jobs or go back to school or enter a relationship or leave a relationship or move across country, whatever that might be. We have an idealized picture in our head of what that might be like, but it's still just a picture. The reality is something that's unfamiliar to us, and unfamiliarity is scary. We don't know for sure what life is going to be like on the other side of that change. I think we have worries in our head. What if I quit my job and I go do something different? What if I don't make enough money? What if I find out I'm not smart enough to succeed in that particular job? What if I leave all my coworkers behind that I'm friends with and I go to this new job and nobody likes me and I don't make any friends? What if I lose the weight and I still don't find the love of my life, or whatever it might be? There is a lot of fear in unfamiliarity because we don't know for sure what's coming. And there's also this, and I don't think people sometimes tell us this, but it's something I've learned the hard way. It's true that with any change that we make, there is something we give up. Now, we may be giving up something that we really didn't like in the first place, but it's still scary to give something up. For example, when I left education and we moved halfway across the state, while I was glad to be out of that particular job that felt like it was draining me, and it was draining me, but I gave up some wonderful colleagues and coworkers who had become very dear friends. We left our neighborhood where we had raised our kids. It was the only home they had known. In fact, we moved my daughter to college one week, and then the next week we were literally moving away from her home. We gave up good friends and neighbors And those things were hard to give up. Now that doesn't mean that things aren't fine on the other side, but with any change that we make, there is a certain aspect of loss that comes along with that. And sometimes we don't know what that change is going to be. It's scary to think about making that change. And I think that fear is what a lot of times keeps us stuck, because it's easier to stay, they say it's easier to stay with the devil you know than the devil you don't know. I think there is a lot to that. Now, okay, boy, that sounds gloomy, doesn't it? But if we're going to make a change, there has to be a very strong motivator there. They always, in the business world, in the online world, they always talk about what's your why. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to create it? And to be real honest, I hear it so much in groups that I'm in that sometimes it begins to sound a little bit trite. It's just the latest buzzword that everybody says. But unfortunately, sometimes there is truth in what sounds trite, to be real honest. If we're going to make a change, we really do have to think about, why do I want to make this change? Do I want to improve my health? Do I want to improve my finances? Do I need the challenge of a new job? Do I need, a new relationship? Do I need to go back to school? What is it? How is it going to benefit me? Because again, growth occurs when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. So what kind of a positive change are we going to get when we make a change, when we form a new habit? And sometimes it gets down to this one question, and I brought this out last week. How badly do you want it? And of course, that's something that only we can answer for ourselves. Nobody can answer that for us. But here at the beginning of a new year, a lot of us are looking at some changes that we're making. We want to form some new habits. I definitely have some new habits I need to form. Some things that I want to change that have been bugging me for a long time, and that I've just kind of pushed off over to the side, either out of fear or laziness, or just not quite being mentally to the place yet that I was really ready to make those changes. But it's time to make some changes. It's time to change some habits. So until things are a habit, I don't know about you, but I need a few crutches, to be real honest, to help me do those things. And I think most of us do. I've read a lot that says it takes 21 days to make a habit. And I've always heard that is conventional wisdom. It takes 21 days to create a new habit. But I read a book recently, and I don't have the name of it, I'm sorry. I read a book recently that talked about that is the minimum that it takes to form a new habit, a minimum of 21 days, and that it may be closer to 30 to 60. Most of us don't get up in the morning and have to ask ourselves, do I want to take a shower? Do I want to brush my teeth? We just automatically do those. Those are totally ingrained. But when we start forming a new habit, those things aren't totally ingrained. So until it's a habit, there's nothing wrong with cheating to help us make it a habit. So some things we can do to cheat, some crutches that we can use. One is a checklist. I use a planner. I've told you before, I'm a paper planner girl, and I will make lists in my planner and check things off. And in fact, one thing that I'm having to do right now that's going to sound really odd, because I talk about meal planning and I love meal planning, but I have noticed that the last month, my meal planning's been okay. My execution has been lousy. And so I'm started writing in my planner at about 5 o'clock each day, stop, go make dinner. And I know what I'm going to make. It's not that, because I am a planner, but it's the execution. It's the stopping to do it. So a checklist. A lot of times I keep a checklist about the water that I'm drinking, because I'll be honest, I don't like the taste of water. I don't like the taste of water. Now I can sip and drink iced tea all day, or give me my Coke Zero with vanilla, and I'm a really happy girl. But I have to have a crutch to remind myself I need to drink more water, because that is not a habit to me yet, but I'm working on it. Charts are another way. Working in schools for so many years, you'd have those charts with those gold stars for those kids. Folks, we all work with gold stars. There is nothing wrong with keeping something in your planner or wherever, giving yourself a little check mark, using a sticker if you think that's fun. I am not too proud to admit that I love fun stickers, and I'm motivated by that, because it's just something tangible that reminds me to do it. I did find some flavoring I can put in. I need to check it out a little bit better, that helps make it taste better. But another crutch that we can use is reminders and alarms. And, set an alarm on your phone. Set an alarm on your computer, wherever you need to be. But set an alarm, set a reminder that, oh, it's time to get up from my computer and it's time to go walk for a few minutes. Or it's time to get up and it's time to go purposely drink a little bit. Or like for me, you've made the dinner plan and get up and go make dinner instead of waiting till 9 o'clock and realizing, oh, I've been sitting here working and I haven't gotten up and done that. Another good thing is an accountability partner. And if you've got someone either in your house or folks with online, we can reach out to our online friends who are working on the same things that we are, or even if they're not working on the same things, that they can just help remind us. But find an accountability partner that you can check in with that will help hold your feet to the fire and will say, did you get that done? Did you make dinner? Did you drink your water? Whatever it be. It might be somebody in your house. It might be, your spouse or whatever to help remind you of that. But somebody to help keep you accountable. And ideally, we would all be totally accountable to ourselves. But let's be honest, it's real easy to tell myself, well, I'll get to that tomorrow. It's a little harder if I have to tell an accountability partner, yeah, I didn't make dinner last night. We just, kind of snacked or something. Or I didn't get my water in for the 10th day in a row. Something else that works and that helps me the most is to schedule it in. Again, I live and die by schedules. It's from all those years of being in schools with bells and certain times that the kids had to be certain places. So building it into your schedule. For example, if you want to start the habit of walking, if you've already put it in your calendar that you're going to walk at 6 o'clock the next morning, and then do things to make that easy. Have your sneakers set out so that you don't have to go rummaging around in the closet to find your sneakers and to find your socks and to find, whatever it is you want to take with you. Have those things laid out and ready. In other words, set yourself up for success as much as you can, because I'll be honest, at 6 o'clock in the morning, if I can't find my sneakers, make it a real good excuse to go blow it off and not do it, right? Another thing I've read a lot about is to act as if. For example, what would an already fit person do? What would a person who is thin, how would they eat at this party? How would a person who is very cautious with their money and careful about saving for goals, what would they do? So when we act as if we are already that way, that helps set that mental mindset so that we can, remember to behave those ways until they actually are habits. And then there's nothing wrong with motivational tools. Like I told you, my quote that I kept above my desk, that quote motivated me that at some point I was going to make that change because I was tired of being stuck in the place that I was. Photos, vision boards, any of those things that help motivate you and give you the vision of what life is going to be like when you make that change or form that habit or drop that bad habit. And then something else that I hear about a lot that I know people use is to schedule an event in the future. For example, if fitness is one of your goals, set yourself a deadline that you're going to participate in a 5K, or plan a vacation, or plan a party. If part of your goal is getting organized and getting your house under control, let's face it, there's nothing like knowing a bunch of people are going to be coming over to help motivate us to do that. So that would be the final suggestion that I would make, is set an event that will motivate you because you really don't want to get to that event and have the dirty house, or have to back out of the 5K, or have to cancel the vacation reservations or whatever. So those are some of my suggestions. I would really like to hear some of your suggestions. I firmly believe we learn best from each other, that no one person has all of the answers, but that the answer's in the room. So I would love for you to, in the comments, leave your suggestions. What are some of the things that help you form new habits and to get rid of the old habits, so that we can all, at the end of 2019, know that we're in a better place than we were when we started. So anyway, y'all have a great day and go table a little frenzy, and I'll talk to you later.